everyone. Today we're going to talk about a word and a subject that you don't hear about every day. It's called the freegan lifestyle. What in the world does that mean? And how I lived the freegan life, even way before YouTube. In fact, it all started over 20 years ago for me. I didn't even know what the word was. It wasn't even a word then, but it was how I was living my everyday life. And that is living off of the scraps of other people, living off of the things that other people no longer want. So I'm going to show you in tangible ways how you can implement the freegan lifestyle into your life. So I started the freegan lifestyle many years ago, and it started with a need for some things, but not having any money. So I'm going to show you in tangible ways, step by step, all the different areas that I implemented freeganism into my life. So let's see, where should we start? How can you live off of the discards of other people? And how do we do all of this? So the first thing I learned was Freecycle. Freecycle was a wonderful way that people were giving things away for free that they no longer wanted. And that started my quest to gaining some things that I couldn't afford. And so Freecycle was one of the big ways that I was implementing things and getting things that I needed. I remember in the beginning I needed comforters and covers and things like that, and Freecycle would have that opportunity. We still have Freecycle today. I don't know if it's quite as popular as it was back all of those years ago, but Freecycle was one way that I could give to people what I don't need anymore and what I could receive from people that they no longer wanted. So Freecycle was a wonderful way for me to get all kinds of things. I got just, you name it, toasters and things like that. So the number one was Freecycle. And then it went, when I started with my homesteading, I had no money at all for homesteading. And when we started our garden, I didn't even have money for garden seeds. And guess what? I went to our local newspaper and I put in a free article. So I think it was up to, at that time, you could post 3 times a year on the classifieds. And I was asking, not for people's good seeds. So this is one thing that we want to dispel. A freegan lifestyle is somebody not that's taking the good from people, but it's taking that people don't want. It's keeping things out of the landfill. It's green living. Literally, it's green living because you're taking things that people would throw away and you're using them. So I put in the local paper, I said, hey, does anybody have any old garden seeds that they're no longer going to be using? And wow, the response. I think I got 500 responses, and people mailed me the garden seeds. In fact, somebody mailed me 50 pounds of garden seeds. They were a produce farm. They were Amish, and it was seeds that they didn't want anymore. They were going to throw them away. That was such a huge deal in my life, and I'm still using those seeds in my garden today, and I'm going to show you that here in just a minute. And then I started a YouTube channel. Now I am going to talk about the food too, because you can get free food, and I'm talking legal, not going into dumpsters illegally and doing that. Now some states and some places you can go in your dumpster and you can get food. So you got to go by your state's regulations. Here in the state of Pennsylvania, if there is a dumpster and it's not locked and there's no gate around it, you are legally able to go in that dumpster. But if there's a lock on it or if there is a gate around it, it is illegal to trespass in there into that dumpster. Unfortunately, more and more stores nowadays are locking their dumpsters. But I'm going to share with you how you can get food for free. And I've had literally, I think 35 people now through the years have done what I said. But let's talk a little bit about after I had my YouTube channel. So in the end of 2016, I started my YouTube channel. And through the years, people look at my things like that back there and, wow, you are this and that. What you don't understand is it's part of my lifestyle is to find things for free. When I started my YouTube channel, nobody knew who Homestead Tessie was. I wasn't getting endorsements or sponsors. Nobody knew. But I spent hours every single day going to different companies and writing them cover letters. And I would say, hi, my name is Homestead Tessie. I started a YouTube channel. I would love to review a product for you for free if you could give me the product. And of course, 9 times out of 10, I heard no response. None whatsoever. But I kept pursuing it, and guess what? Nesco Dehydrators, one of the head chairmen of Nesco Dehydrators, saw my letter, read my letter, and they gave me a chance. And she said, yes, we will send you a dehydrator. You would not have believed the excitement, because I couldn't afford a dehydrator in 2016 when I started my channel. Nesco has been the biggest company and the first company that gave me a chance. I showed her the video and I said to her, thank you for believing in me, because her believing in me made me believe in myself and gave me the courage to keep contacting companies. Once they decided they were going to sponsor me, other companies saw it, and then I got other dehydrators from London Sunshine, and that is how it went. So it's work. It's a lot of paperwork, a lot of writing letters and writing emails and showing a portfolio of your life. To this day, I have to do that in order to receive some free things, like all of these power units. They don't just come magically at my front door. I write cover letters. I explain who I am. I explain my channel, what I'm all about, and then I gratefully share the videos, and I'm very grateful when I give my reviews. So that's how it got into a bigger arena of things. But it all started before YouTube. And there was places where you could barter with clothing. I barter for 75% of my things now. What do I mean by bartering? Well, I will get appliances and certain items for free, but I gotta work for them. I gotta make a video, I got to work on the unit and show it. It takes me about an hour to do one of those videos, but then they don't pay me with cash. So this is one thing I wanna explain. I'm not money rich at all, because I don't get paid cash for most of the things that I do. I get products in replacement for my time, and the products have helped me save my money. So if I had to go out and spend $2,000 on a power unit, that wouldn't save me any money. But I'm part of the freegan mind, and it's actually the word freegan. And that is the concept of not buying something, bartering for something, finding it for free, and all of these ways of keeping it out of the landfill. Let's go down into my garden, and I'm going to show you something you can do today, even if you don't have a YouTube channel, where you can get plants for free. All right, so a lot of plants you actually can plant at one time and it will grow for a whole year. And a lot of plants you can barter. So I'm going to show you what I do. And I've done this in so many of my videos. But you can take a plant and then you can root it in water, and then you have it forever. And you can share it with other people. They can come and they can use some of your plants. What you can do is, I have some garden tea, mint. And what you can do is you can take a little slip of that, root it in water, and then you have the plant. So different times I will go to a nursery and I'll say, hey, can I take just a little tip of this plant? And most of the times they say yes. And I say, I want to take a little tip of it. Or always ask for permission when you do that. Or you can go to a friend's house, and you can do that with so many things. Let me show you. So here's my garden. 90% of everything in this garden was free. So here we have some tea. This was all free. This is mint. So you're gonna just take this off like this, the bottom part, and stick it in a jar with water. And then it'll grow roots. This one was from last year. And then I have some that was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I do this with oregano. I do that with rosemary. I do it with all kinds of the soft. This is called a soft stalk or soft branch. and these root really well. So the raised garden beds were products that I reviewed, I bartered, I gave my time, and I put them together, and I gave my publicity in reviewing them, and they gave them to me for free. I make little areas with rocks. I just find rocks and then I make things. I have a little fountain in the summertime here. These are old windows I got free off of Craigslist, and I make them into coal frames. So Craigslist is another great place, but I do believe in the buddy system. If you are going to do anything with Craigslist, make sure you have somebody go with you. Do not go anywhere alone. I always have a buddy system when I'm going to pick something up from somebody, and that proved to be really good. So my husband always goes with me. You pick up sticks. You can use these to tie your tomatoes. Use everything that you can find. It sounds silly. You may think it looks silly, but it works amazing. All right, so now we're going to talk about the number one thing that people want to know about, and that's food. How can you get free food without using the food pantry? Well, that's easy, and I'll share that with you. I think it was back in 2018, I did a video, or maybe it was 2019, and I'll share that video at the end of this one, where I talked about how anybody could try to get free food. I was not talking about going to a food pantry, going to a food bank. That's not at all what I was talking about. When I say I get food, salvage food, that's not food pantry food. That's not food that is a food bank. What I do is, the concept is so simple. Listen to what I say. It's so simple and so easy. When I worked at the food pantry, I worked there free of charge, and I would be able to get the salvaged food. In other words, food that they couldn't give away. Different food banks are different. So in other words, government food banks, they do not allow food to be expired. They don't allow certain things. Now, this all depends on your city, your state, who's running your food bank, but this is what I did, and this is how it all started. I called different food banks in my area, and I said to them, I am not looking to attend your food bank, your food pantry, but I'm asking if you have any food that you normally can't use or would throw away, could you write my name and number down? I would be more than happy to pick it up. I explained to them that I like to can, I like to freeze, and if they have produce that's wilted or produce that they cannot give to their patrons, which would be the food bank, I would be more than happy to take it. I also told them I have chickens and animals that would eat any of the leftovers. And that is where it all started. And then immediately I had the gentleman, John, who said, well, yes. He said, every week we have probably about a trunk load of food that we have to dispose of because either it's got too old or, you know, for one instance at the food pantry, if they got tin cans that didn't have the labels, like the labels were off of them, they couldn't give them. So he would collect them, and once a month I would come and pick up the tin cans that didn't have any labels. Or he would give, I'm trying to think different things. I mean, you remember all of my videos. I would get produce that I had to go through. Some of it was moldy, but some of it was good. That is what I did. So I'll tell you again, it's so simple, and many people are doing this. Depends on your area. Here in Pennsylvania, we have hundreds of food banks and church food organizations. Some places, if you're very out in the country, you don't have that. It just depends. We're also in a very growing area where it's full of Amish and Mennonite, and they grow food. So we have ample amounts of food. If you're in Alaska, where you don't have a lot of farms, this won't be as easy. You contact your local food banks and say to them, if you ever have any food that you cannot give away, or if you do your food inventory at certain times of the month and you have food that you cannot hand out to people, please keep me in mind. One time I got 40 pounds of carrots because they were baby carrots and some of them weren't good. I spent hours going through the food and picking out the good. It's not easy. If they call you back and they say they have the food, then you have to go and pick up all of the food. So you can't sit in the parking lot and say, oh, I don't want this, I want this, I don't want this. It doesn't work that way. If you tell them that you would like to have their salvaged free food, you got to take it all. And then you got to figure out what you're going to do with what you can't use. So it's not easy. It's not one of those things that, oh, I'm just going to sit here and all this food's going to come to me and I don't have to do anything about it. But if you're willing to work and you don't have the money and you're willing to feed your family, this is a great opportunity for all of you. Same with canning jars. I bet you I have at least 900 jars that I got free in the course of 5 years. Once again, I would go to Craigslist. I would go to places where they had free things. I would put in our local newspaper, hey, does anybody have any canning jars they no longer want and would be willing to give them to me? You wouldn't believe the response that I got back then. Things are very different now, I am sure. But the freegan lifestyle is a lifestyle where it's not that you don't work, it's that you work very hard, but you work hard for things that other people wouldn't want to do. To be a success in anything in life, you have to be willing to do things that the average person wouldn't be willing to do. In other words, even with YouTube, you have to do things and work hard and do things that the average person would think it's too much work to do. Same with all of these free items. You have to work for it, and you have to, some days it's in the middle of the summer and it's hot. And I remember getting 300-400 pounds of food and sitting outside and having to sort through it, and just even to sort through it before I could bring it in my house because some of it wasn't good. But I was willing to do that, and most people weren't willing to do that, and that's why I got it. Now I have so much food, I don't really need to do that. It got to the point I was getting so much food and giving so much food away that I couldn't do it anymore. And then somebody else they gave some food to, and you know, it just got to the point it was just too much for me. So there you go, everyone. I also have an opportunity in February, and I will be letting you know when it happens. I am being interviewed by a very large corporation that want to hear about my money-saving ways of how I take salvage food. It is going to be very exciting. They are Amish, and it's going to be fun, and they are going to be putting it on their YouTube channel and sharing it with their business. When that happens, I will be more than happy to be giving you the link. I am very excited. My scheduled appointment is in February 14th, and I'm a little nervous, but I'm going to be sharing with the world how they can live the freegan life, and they can take discarded food, discarded appliances, discarded everything, and they can turn it into a beautiful life and a beautiful world that they can live in. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you guys again. Oh, by the way, this was free. The person didn't want this, and they were actually going to burn it. Oh, did I tell you that over there was free too? So the greenhouses were free. The children's playhouse was free. The rain barrels were free. The cement blocks from the rain barrels were free. Everything you see right here, except for our house, of course, was free. Everything. Everything was free. That there was a grill that was in a park, and the grill broke and they were going to throw it away. As you can see, it's very short because it was a long grill. And instead of scrapping it, we asked if we could have it, and they said, sure, you can have it. And while it's short, because it was tall, it works great for us. Just gotta look and think outside the box and let people know what you're looking for. Many times I let people know, hey, I could use some store-bought jars, you know, the mayonnaise jars or spaghetti jars. And as you all know, the Cheese Whiz jars, and I have people send that to me and I can reuse it over and over again. It's just making your request known in certain public places and seeing if there's people that have what you need that they would be throwing it away. So why don't you tell me in the comments below, what is your favorite thing that you found for free? And what's something that you're looking for that you wish you could have? Let's see if we can get a dialogue going here. And who knows, maybe somebody will read your comment and have exactly what you need. Wouldn't it be neat to start up our own group like Freecycle, where people can share with one another all the things that they could use and they could give?